Tonight, Bob McKenzie's mid-season draft rankings are revealed.
Seth Jones has just turned 18, and he turned heads already, too.
Portland's Seth Jones joins us live with his take on Seth versus Nate and the season-long chase to go number one. We'll look closely at some other players with the potential to go high in the draft.
Rebound, score! Elias Lindholm.
And we spotlight Halifax game breaker Jonathan Drouin.
Jonathan does things that I've never seen before. It's incredible to watch.
Scores! Jonathan Drouin!
Bob McKenzie's NHL Draft Prospect Ranking Special next. Portland, Oregon, where right now Seth Jones and the Winterhawks taking on Kamloops. A big 2013 already for Jones, a starring role in a gold medal win for the U.S. at the World Juniors. And tonight we'll see if he stays number 2 or overtakes Nate MacKinnon in Bob McKenzie's draft rankings. How you doing, Canada? And welcome to the mid-season edition of Bob McKenzie's draft rankings. James Duthie and the Bobber right here. We're going to take you 1 through 30 in the next half an hour, but as always, the buzz is about who is number one. There haven't been many misses as far as the first overall pick in the NHL draft over the last decade or so. Players like Crosby and Kane and Stamkos and Tavares, Nugent-Hopkins and Hall. And once again, if you ask the scouts, they believe there are a couple of can't-miss kids at the top. And whoever gets that number 1 overall selection, Bob, they're going to have to make a clear choice.
Yeah, scouts are loving this draft because this draft has the absolute best of both worlds. It's got a big, strong, physical, offensive, high-impact defenseman at both ends of the ice. And it's also got a potential number 1 center, a guy with speed and tenacity, an unbelievable shot, and a goal-scoring pivot that can put points up on the board. What do NHL teams absolutely love? They love a big horse on the blue line, or they like a big guy up the middle that can really generate a lot of points and excitement, and they're both available at the top of this draft.
You carefully avoided using any names there, but we're not fooling anyone. It's been very clear from the beginning of the year, 2 guys at the top. Is it still back and forth as to who is number 1 in the scout's eyes?
McKinnon with some skating room, trying to go wide on Seth Jones. It's number 1 and 2.
For me, it's Nathan MacKinnon and Seth Jones. 1A, I'll go that route.
Hello, Nate MacKinnon.
Well, now that was nice. When you look at Seth Jones, there's not much area of the game that he does not touch.
It goes to Jones, walks in and fires, scores! Seth Jones with a bullet.
Cue the highlight reel. What a release by Nathan MacKinnon.
Just a typical night for the kid.
Now Nathan MacKinnon with a nifty play off the end board. Spins back again. Spins again. You're always getting dizzy. Seth Jones has talked the talk and he's ready to walk the walk.
These guys right now, neck and neck to go number 1 overall in 2013. That was your well-edited video version of hype. Now let's get to the numbers. Who is your number 1?
Seth Jones of the Portland Winterhawks is the number 1 guy. A big, strong, offensive defenseman, skates like the wind, unbelievable size, 6'4", well over 200 pounds. Does a great job offensively and is improving his defensive game by leaps and bounds, reading and reacting better to when he doesn't have the puck. But whether it's taking the game over offensively or now taking it over defensively, he can do it both.
Now, does that mean MacKinnon is number 2?
Yes, indeed it does. I mean, it's hard to overlook somebody that's got the kind of dynamic speed and power that Nate MacKinnon has. Now, he's not a huge guy. He's not over 6 feet tall, but he's so fast and he's got such a good shot. And he creates so much offensively. He's so tenacious and strong on the puck that scouts can easily see his game translating to the National Hockey League and being able to score a lot of goals and put up a lot of points playing as a team's number 1 center.
Now, the last time you did this rankings was a week before the World Junior Hockey Championship, and it was MacKinnon number 1 and Jones number 2. Why did it flip-flop? Was it just the performance at the World Juniors?
Well, I talked to 10 NHL scouts the week before the World Juniors, and it was very clear. 7 of them took Nate MacKinnon number 1, and 3 of them took Seth Jones number 1. I redid the survey with the same 10 scouts in the last week or 2, and it's completely flip-flopped. And what happened is 5 guys that had Nate MacKinnon at number 1 switched over to Seth Jones. But 1 guy who had Seth Jones number 1 switched over to Nate MacKinnon. Now, obviously, Seth Jones had a better World Junior Hockey Championship than Nate MacKinnon did. Seth Jones started a little bit slow for the Americans, but as the tournament wore on, he just got better and better on a very good American team that ultimately won gold. Nate MacKinnon depending on who you talk to, either he didn't get the opportunity to show what he could do because he was a fourth-line player for Team Canada, or he didn't seize the opportunity that he had to make more of it, but he simply did not have as good a World Junior Championship. You don't get penalized for a bad World Junior Championship. Keep in mind, when Ryan Nugent-Hopkins went first overall in his draft year, he got cut from Team Canada. He didn't even get to go to the World Juniors. It had zero impact on his draft status. But there's no question that Jones has been on a roll, and McKinnon doesn't get penalized for the World Junior Championship that he had, but he's certainly not getting rewarded either.
I know you don't name the scouts and how they voted, but I'd love to talk to the guy who changed, because he must have seen either something in McKinnon or some sort of flaw in Jones' game.
It was after the Prospects game. He saw something in the Prospects game that he liked.
Okay. By the way, Seth Jones will join us live as soon as the period ends in the game between Portland and Kamloops. We expect that to be in just a few minutes' time. Now, 3 and 4. We should say they've also distinguished themselves and separated themselves from the field.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, McKinnon and Jones are a little bit ahead of 3 and 4, but the guys at 3 and 4 are a little bit ahead of 5 and down. And number 3 is Jonathan Drouin, Nate McKinnon's line mate with the Halifax Mooseheads. Elite level hockey sense, elite level hands, as good as you get in the draft. Questions about size maybe translating to the next level, but he's been outstanding and will continue to garner lots of attention. And then Sasha Barkov, Alexander Barkov, the big two-way Finnish center, played so well in the Finnish Elite League early on, got a little fatigued towards the World Juniors, but everybody still likes his pro-style game and the fact that scouts believe he could play immediately in the National Hockey League next season.
And again, these guys are good. There was some talk Drouin might move up to second, so there's a possibility these guys could pop into 1 or 2
absolutely.
As we go along.
Drouin actually on 2 scouts ballots was ahead of McKinnon.
Okay.
And Barkov was ahead of both of them, number 2 on another scouts ballot. So they're in the running, but I don't see them as number 1 candidates right now, but they could push whoever's number 2.
All right, take us through the rest of your top 10, 5 through 10.
Well, the number 5 one would be Swedish forward Elias Lindholm. He's smart, he's skilled, he creates offense for himself and others. And the only thing that perhaps separates him from Barkov is maybe size and strength and whether his game will translate as well to the pro level. But no one doubts his ability to produce. Number 6, Sean Monahan, a very good player on this year, a bad Ottawa 67s team. Monahan's two-way game and hockey smarts are elite. Though he started this season a little slower than expected, scouts do not doubt his high hockey IQ and his complete game approach. Puts up pretty good numbers, too. Number 7, Rasmus Ristolainen, the big Finnish blue liner. He's big, he's strong, he's fast and aggressive. He's got a heavy shot from the point, and he can be a high-impact player, both offensively and physically, though sometimes he tries a little too hard to make his mark. Number 8, Hunter Shinkaruk, the Medicine Hat Tiger forward, has elite-level speed and skill and is a dynamic offensive presence, but he'll have to demonstrate that he's big and or strong enough to handle the heavier and more physical pro-style traffic. Number 9, Nikita Zadorov. The Russian defenseman who plays for the London Knights is big, strong, physical, mobile, and he projects as a shutdown-type blue liner who's been getting better and better as the OHL season unfolds on a very good London Knight team. Number 10, you remember him, Valery Nikushkin. Speaking of big, strong, fast, and physical Russians, the big winner was excellent at the World Junior Championship. While no one doubts his physical tools and the domination at the World Juniors, scouts are looking to see how creative he is, whether he can share the puck, and what his hockey sense is like. But boy, he is a horse.
Let's recap Bob's top 10. At number 1, Seth Jones. Nate McKinnon is second. Jones leads the WHL rookies as far as defensemen go in goals, assists, and points. McKinnon has 3 or more points in 9 different games this year. He's explosive. Drouin is the only player in the CHL averaging 2 points per game. He has 62 in 31. Ristolainen averaging 21 minutes per game in the top Finnish league. Shinkaruk, 10 goals and 17 points in 14 January games, so he is en fuego. Okay, we'll take a break. Ahead on the show, Seth Jones will join us live from Portland. Plus, we'll unveil numbers 11 through 30 on Bob's list as we continue to take you through the top 30. And like many Canadians, Jonathan Drouin loved playing on an outdoor rink, and man, could he play.
I just like the stick handling part and the shooting with my boots on.
Well, here is Seth Jones, who has just finished the first period. Kamloops leading Portland 2-0. Seth, Central Scouting has ranked you number 1 in North America. Now Bob McKenzie has you number 1 amongst the NHL scouts. What do those endorsements mean to you?
They're a tremendous honor. It's what you watch the draft when you're a young kid, and you look forward to and working every day to be that number one pick in the draft, and to be that high on that list is a tremendous honor.
7 points in your last 4 games after just 1 in the first 5 games after the World Juniors. Did you have to recover a little bit from a gold medal hangover, or was it just the 14-hour time difference?
Maybe a little bit of both. I came back and was trying to play my game, and I wasn't getting any bounces when I came back, and now I got to give a lot of credit to my teammates. They're putting the puck in the net.
Now, it's still really early in the NHL season, but as it moves along and gets closer to the end, can you help yourself from keeping an eye on the standings and seeing which teams might be in the running for that number 1 pick?
Yeah, it's in everyone's nature to keep an eye on that kind of stuff, but I'm just looking to get better every day here in Portland and see where that takes me.
I know you know McKinnon pretty well, and you and Nate have gotten to be pretty good friends. Do you still text a little bit? You've been giving him a hard time about what happened at the World Juniors?
Yeah, for sure, I have. Nate's a great guy. He's a great kid, and we text back and forth a little bit, and he's having a great season right now, so just trying to look to do the same.
Well, listen, we really appreciate you doing this mid-game. Best of luck in the game and the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
That is Seth Jones, number 1 on Bob's list.
Philly or Orlando? Second pick in the 1993 NBA draft goes to the Philadelphia 76ers. And believe it or not, the first pick in the 1993 NBA draft goes to the Orlando Magic. Unbelievable. The Orlando Magic select Chris Webber.
We show that 1993 because that was Orlando, the 11th and last seed, who had a 1 in 66 chance of winning that lottery and won it, and of course got the first overall selection. Remember, this will be the first year where all of the teams that don't make the playoffs in the NHL will have a chance at number 1. So anything truly can happen. The 11th seed in our Bob's rankings, let's have a look at 11 through 15 right now. Alex Wennberg from Sweden is at number 11, second in scoring behind Philip Forsberg for under 19 players in the Swedish second division. Darnell Nurse, defenseman with Sault Ste. Marie, 10 points in 53 games last year, 30 in 49 this year. Frederick Gauthier, center for Rimouski, plus 24, leads the team, first in assists among rookies in the queue. Andre Burakovsky from Sweden is at number 14, and Ryan Pulock, defenseman with Brandon. Bob?
Scouts are really interested to see what this Gauthier kid is bringing from Rimouski. Frederick Gauthier, 6'5", 210 pounds. Played midget hockey last year. It's his first year in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. There are some who look at him, and some of the scouts are projecting him now as a potential top 10 pick. But as I say, huge size and unbelievable numbers for a guy that's playing his first year in the queue. They're going to be looking to see how he finishes this season and if he can maintain what he started.
All right, the second half of our top 30 now as we bring you 16 through 20 on Bob's list. At number 16, Adam Erne, 59 points for Quebec this season. Anthony Mantha is at number 17, plays in Val-d'Or, has scored 2 goals tonight, leads all CHL prospects with 40 goals and 71 points. Max Domi, Ty's kid in London, second in points among the top prospects with 64. Bo Horvat is at number 18. Sorry, I flipped those around. Horvat is at number 18. Max Domi is at number 19. And Josh Morrissey is at number 20, the defenseman in Prince Albert. 13 goals, third among WHL defensemen.
Scouts are talking about Adam Erne, the big winger from the Quebec Ramparts, as the guy who played the best of anybody in the CHL prospects game. He's big, he's strong, he drives the net, he plays a pro-style game, he's got a pro release. He's the second-ranked American prospect, second only, of course, to Seth Jones.
All right, to number 21 through 25 on Bob's list as we bring you into our last 10 here. Mirko Mueller, defenseman from Everett, is at number 21, 23 points this season for the Swiss-born player. Zach Fucali, the goaltender with Halifax, leads the queue with 31 victories this season. At number 23, Kirby Reichel, GM Warren Reichel's son, leading Windsor with 26 goals so far this season. At 24 is Jason Dickinson, left winger out of Guelph. And at number 25, Curtis Lazar, who helped lead Edmonton to the WHL title and a spot in the Memorial Cup last spring. Bob?
Scouts are all over the map on Lazar. There's some guys that have him in the top 20 in this draft. There are others that have looking at him as a potential second rounder. But he's a very versatile player, a smart player, At the Ivan Holinka tournament last summer, he played out of position. He's normally a center, played on the wing with Jonathan Drouin and Nate McKinnon on the top line for Team Canada when they won the gold medal. He's on an unbelievable tear through December and January. 16 goals in his last 25 games. He's really putting the puck in the net right now.
5 left on Bob's top 30. 26, Jacob de la Rose is a left winger from Leksand, Sweden. 10 points this year, 6 goals, 4 assists. Valentin Zykov, 62 points for Baie-Comeau in the queue, is at number 27. At number 28, Ryan Hartman. You remember him from the World Juniors gold medal for the U.S. team. Played on the line with McKinnon and Drouin at the top prospects game. At number 29 is Robert Hägg, defenseman playing for Modo in Örnsköldsvik, Sweden, that hockey factory. And JT Compher, U.S. National Development Team program, rounds out Bob's list at number 30.
Scouts are really excited by Zykov, the Russian from St. Petersburg, Russia. Very strong, below the dots, as dominant as you could possibly get. His puck protection skills are tremendous. He's got 32 goals. He's a horse and really difficult to push off the puck on the cycle and down low. And the Scouts, he's rocketing up the charts. He's a guy that has a lot of upward mobility on this list.
We know we rolled through those very quickly for you. All of Bob's list, of course, as always, at tsn.ca if you want to study it in more detail. We still have more ahead on the mid-season ranking show, including a feature on Jonathan Drouin, who gets really excited when goals are scored. And Craig Button drops by, our TSN scout, to reveal his perfect 5. Here's a recap of Bob's top 5. Seth Jones, who you heard from just a few minutes ago, jumping past Nate McKinnon into the first spot. McKinnon and Drouin, the 2 teammates from Halifax, at 2 and 3. And it is hockey, so of course, as teammates, they are good buddies, and good buddies who will tease one another. Nate McKinnon and Jonathan Drouin. Drouin has a tendency to speak rather quickly in both English and French, so McKinnon jokes that he had to act as a translator during their time with the World Juniors and Team Canada. But on the ice, Drouin speaks with perfect clarity. He is a poet in the language of puck.
Huberdeau, Quebec is a village nestled by the Rouge River northwest of Montreal, not far from Mont-Tremblant.
It's a small town. There's not much going on there. There's a baseball field. There's a grocery store.
At the town's outdoor rink, Jonathan Drouin learned to stick handle and skate in that order.
Lui, il jouait en bas, puis il suivait les autres en patin.
I kind of really like skating. I just like the stick handling part and the shooting with my boots even on the ice.
Puis c'est ça, on lui a dit à un moment donné, si tu veux jouer dans une équipe de hockey, il va falloir que tu mettes tes patins. Puis un matin, il s'est décidé, puis il nous a dit oui, je vais mettre des patins.
Almost as soon as Drouin put on skates, he was excelling at hockey, and he practiced as often as he could.
On allait à la patinoire extérieure, pouvait passer 8 heures.
I just needed the outside rink. That's the only thing I needed. I think I went to the outside rink every day, went back home, and same thing the next day.
Il dînait ou il soupait dans la cabane où on arrange les patins.
Et le hockey, c'est une grosse passion. C'est une passion, hein. Ça, on l'a ou on l'a pas, là. C'est une passion.
Drouin was picked second overall by the Halifax Mooseheads at the 2011 draft, but he stayed home and began what would have been his rookie season in midget in order to keep NCAA hockey an option.
We used to talk on Facebook a little bit. It was kind of like online dating. We just talked on Facebook, never met before, but I just was like, what are you doing? Like, come to Halifax, like, we need you here.
By mid-December, Drouin had changed his mind and moved to Halifax, much to the delight of the Mooseheads.
Backhand scores! Jonathan Drouin!
Jonathan does things that I've never seen before.
He'll just create plays out of nothing.
It's like the puck sticks to a stick. It's incredible to watch.
He'll just surprise everyone with his little quickness in his hands and his intelligence on the ice.
Into the slot, a couple of moves, he fires and scores! Jonathan Drouin!
Drouin and Nate McKinnon have developed a near telepathic relationship on the ice.
I just put them together to see, and from there, I never moved them apart.
He's an exciting guy. He's energetic. You know, he likes to scream after he scores.
Drouin's joyful intensity and sublime skill vaulted him up the draft rankings and earned him a spot on Team Canada.
Scores! Jonathan Drouin!
And after an exhausting and emotional tournament halfway around the world, what did Drouin do when he arrived back in Canada?
Il est arrivé chez nous, il s'est installé, il a commencé à faire taper ses hockey, puis 2 heures après, il était sur la patinoire extérieure.
I took 2 days off and went back to the outside rink before coming back to Halifax. It's just a great time when I was young, and it was great to go back there.
Drouin and McKinnon leading Halifax right now to the #1 ranking among junior hockey teams in this country. And he also rates well on all of Craig's list. Craig Button, our scout, rates players in 5 different categories. IQ, which is essentially smarts, skating, shot, hands, and competitiveness. Tonight, he gives us his best in class in all those categories. Craig?
They say that everything begins in the head, and that is where we begin in our perfect 5 categories of hockey excellence for this year's draft class. There are 2 things that stand out about Jonathan Drouin's IQ: his ability to process information and the quickness in which he possesses it. Off the charts is what I call it, and it's a weapon he uses to great advantage. When we move down to the hands, Max Domi handles the puck in every conceivable manner and displays a confidence in his ability that allows him to create grade A scoring chances, not only for others, but for himself as well. Skating is the foundation, and Nate McKinnon is elite in this category and is as fast from 0 to 60 as anybody. And not only does he get to top speed quickly, he's able to do things at that high pace without loss of skill. Moving to the shot or finisher's touch, Anthony Mantha can score in all manner of ways. On the move, in tight, and can take tough pucks and deposit them into the net. And this includes the shootout, which we know can be very important. And what would a hockey player be without heart? And Ryan Hartman, love the heart in the name, is a prototypical player who does everything to win. But we have a tie in this category because Kirby Reichel matches him, and they take everything seriously, including a prospects game fight. I don't know what a player would look like if they possessed every one of these qualities, but it might wear number 87.
Good stuff from our scout and the professor, Craig Button. Jones won round #1 over McKinnon at the World Juniors, but is it possible we haven't seen the last of this
There's
head-to-head?
lots of rounds still to go. First off, they call it the mid-season rankings for a reason, because it is the middle of the season, especially for Jones and McKinnon. You've got McKinnon and Drouin playing for Halifax, the #1 ranked team in the Canadian Hockey League. You've got Jones with the Portland Winterhawks, the #2 ranked. They could be on a collision course where they're playing hockey right through to the end of May. And also, 7-3 was the margin between Jones and McKinnon for #1 on the rankings. It looks like it's lopsided, but it's not, because every scout goes to the point of saying, hey, there's that much difference between these 2 guys. It could be positional at the end. You need a defenseman, take Jones. You need a center, take McKinnon.
2 great kids. They joined us last year at the draft, and I remember them hanging out and looking up at the stage and saying, man, will that be us next year, perhaps 1 and 2? We will find out June 30th in Newark, New Jersey. Thanks for watching, everybody.